This is the story of Rajesh, Pradeep and Sudha. But it could well be the story of Kairu, Nelson or Xiaolin in Africa, Brazil or China. This is a story of people.
बिल्कुल पुअर सिस्टम। यहाँ से कोई हॉस्पिटल 10 किलोमीटर के पहले कोई हॉस्पिटल नहीं। एम्बुलेंस नहीं होता गाँव में।
અને એવી દયનીય દશા એમની થઈ જતી કે અહીંયા 200 છોકરા બલાદના અહીં હાઈવે પર ઊભા રહ્યા હોય, એસટીઓ બંધ થઈ ગઈ, એસટીઓ નથી 10% ના રહી, નકર 10 મિનિટ અમારા વલાદમાં 17-18 એસટી આવતી ગામમાં પહેલા।
કેટલા વખત પહેલા?
5 વર્ષ પહેલા સવારે 6 વાગ્યાથી રાતના 1:30 વાગ્યા સુધી સતત.
The lack of urban services in non-urban areas leaves people with no choice but to move to urban areas. This ongoing migration accelerates the well-known problems associated with massive urbanization movements, such as overcrowded spaces, environmental pollution, water scarcity, transport problems, wealth inequalities, etc. At Alcatel-Lucent, we believe that when a problem is the size of 1 billion people, it is simply too big to be a problem. Instead, it has to be an opportunity. But an opportunity that requires a paradigm shift in the way we think about the problem in order to offer the best solutions. Urbanization has always been about building cities as hubs of economic activity, which were associated with realizing economic potential and growth opportunities. The urban area is usually distinct from the rural area in terms of development, opportunities, and lifestyle.
What used to be rural becomes urban, but not because it physically connects. It's because it connects by access and it connects by information.
Where traditional boundaries are blurring between urban, semi-urban, and rural. Services that are traditionally considered urban are becoming available and accessible in non-urban areas.
नेट कैसे आता है यहाँ पे?
पेन ड्राइवर आता है ना, यहाँ नेट सेटर आता है वो, आइडिया का, आइडल का, कोई सी कंपनी का भी ले लो। जैसे एग्रीकल्चर के लिए हैं, साइट पे हम बढ़िया बीज ढूंढने हैं, कौन सी कंपनी की बीज बढ़िया हो, खाद को वहाँ नेट पे देख के खेतों में उसका यूज करके खेती को बढ़ा सकते हैं।
विलेज ना ऊर दा विलेज
இது டவுன் மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு.
ஓ டவுன் மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சா? ஆஹா, எதுக்கு எப்படி டவுன் மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சுன்னு சொல்றீங்க?
நீங்க எல்லாம் எல்லாரும் ஆபீஸ் போற மாதிரி எல்லாம் வெளிய போறாங்க, யாரும் கிராமவாதி இல்ல.
இப்ப கிராமத்துல வேலை யாரும் செய்யலையா?
அதான் மெஷின் மேக்ஸிமம் மெஷின் வந்து இப்ப கரும்பு நடனா மெஷின் வந்துருச்சுங்க. கரும்பு நட
Confluence of changes have given rise to what we refer to as the mega trend of neo-urbanization. This is a phenomenon we are seeing manifesting itself in various parts of the world through the formation of mega corridors, mega cities, and converged rural areas which challenge today's prevailing notion of city limits.
Because of ICT, the physical connectivity becoming actually redundant. So what we see right now is basically connectivity which is on the physical level, on a virtual level, all with the enablement of ICT.
Information and communication technology, or ICT, lie at the heart of enabling quality services to reach these new zones that go beyond our traditional definition of what makes an area urban. Alcatel-Lucent partnered with IMRB International to study this phenomenon in India. Our objective was to understand how neo-urbanization is happening on the ground, its impact on the people, and the role of ICT in the growing economy of India. The National Capital Region, or NCR, the region surrounding Delhi, is the second largest urban agglomeration in the world and includes the city of Gurgaon, which has seen rapid growth in the past decade. We visited Kankrola, a village 65 kilometers from Gurgaon, where we met Rajesh. Rajesh is a door-to-door salesman for an industrial adhesive manufacturer. He calls Just Dial, a local search engine, to get information about prospective clients.
जस्ट डायल आपको हमें कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, हमें ये पूछना है कि होंडा फैक्ट्री कहाँ पे, होंडा के नंबर क्या है, तुरंत 1 मिनट में लगाओ आप जस्ट डायल पे नोट कर दो, मैं रजिस्टर्ड हूँ। एक विजिट सिर्फ इसी बात के लिए कि पहले फोन नंबर लेके आओ कंसर्न आदमी से बात करने के लिए, फिर कंसर्न आदमी से बात करो अपॉइंटमेंट देगा कि नहीं देगा, तो मतलब और कुछ भी नहीं तो एक चक्कर वो तो कम हो गया कम से कम।
In a country where access to basic healthcare facilities has been a major challenge, 108 is the first emergency response service which has transformed people's access to emergency healthcare in the country. The average response time of only 18 minutes to reach victims and patients was earlier unimaginable, given the lack of infrastructure. Telemedicine, remote diagnosis, and remote patient monitoring are making a significant difference on increasing the quality of healthcare outside of more densely populated areas.
People in the rural parts of the country are now demanding and are expecting to have much better facilities in terms of healthcare services, or are very clear about what kind of healthcare facilities they need. That kind of a choice was not possible earlier.
Education is another area where ICTs are blurring the line between traditional urban and rural areas in significant ways. Sudhakar, an aeronautical engineering student in Coimbatore, is enjoying the benefits of the democratization of education. He was actively looking for ways to dive deeper into his subject, and he was able to do so by watching informative videos about the making of aircraft on the internet.
You just went to Google and said boundary layer and it returned a YouTube video.
Boundary layer, it will be giving some only return notes, but in YouTube it will give an experimental way. This is the video. So from top to bottom they will be explaining the full step procedure to manufacture an aircraft.
Thanks to ICT, Sudhakar has a say in the way his educational content is delivered to him.
Neo-urbanization is the is the powerful means for people to experience choice. It's about freedom of choice. It's about the choice to stay where they are, choice to do what they want, choice to access the facilities that anybody else can access by being in the big cities earlier.
ICT will enable this democratization of information. Everyone will have an access to the same information, no matter where you are, either if you're in a rural area or you're in an urban area.
In a neo-urbanized context, the gradual movement of the urban to the rural has resulted in blurring jurisdictions, urban to rural, state to state, and national to state.
So they have become so comfortable using technology that it's just a matter of time that they naturally start making suggestions on how to improve these services or alterations to it that will be more suited for them.
We find people actively engage with ICTs to access information. It is increasingly going to become a two-way process where people will want to participate both as producers and receivers of content. Palanaga Karthik from Coimbatore in South India is one such citizen who is beginning to see the relevance of ICT in democratizing information.
Every area there is a councillor and every council should be given some code. That code, every government should create a web page. If we are having a merits or demerits about that council or about that area, if there is any problem, water problem or electricity problem, we can commonly use that page, and we can also include that snaps also can be included.
When technology is being used in richer ways, like through social networks for people to talk to each other, people will spread opinions on what they think about their city or the services that they have access to, or how the government is and so on. And they'll use their social networks that have been created both in the physical world and in the virtual world to spread this information.
ICT can play a role in providing networks of cooperation. What we mean by this is the fact that it no longer has to be a hierarchical or a linear means to access or to reach or to provide information. It can be a non-linear, it can be a multi-directional, and it can be a participative sort of space where people, individuals to individuals, individuals to state, or individuals to other stakeholders in the ecosystem can provide or share or access information. And this is really the kind of cooperation that will be very powerful in the neo-urbanization of tomorrow. I think clearly ICT has a strong role to play in that.
Government needs to start to be aware of these changes in the urbanized world and in the rural world, and start fitting a lot of the policies and a lot of the way they conduct their business, more the way they conduct the business to fit this new way of being.
S.K. Sundararaman is a part of one of the largest industrial conglomerates in Tamil Nadu. He emphasizes the transition of various towns around Coimbatore like Tirupur and Karur, highlighting the impact of economic activity and its transformation of the surrounding region into a neo-urban hub.
The access to education, the access to capital, the access to exposure creates those kinds of business or helps create those kinds of businesses in places where labor is cheap, but then there's an entrepreneurial culture. But just because there's an entrepreneurial culture and labor does not create a thing. So access to a proximity to a slightly more advanced place like Coimbatore gives that kind of an exposure, the ability, the capital to come inside to actually bring those places up. So in that sense, I actually look at Karur and more particularly Tirupur as a satellite of Coimbatore. So there is definitely a fallout effect of whatever Coimbatore has been in bringing those places to what they are today.
What we are witnessing is the beginning of a paradigm shift, which will touch the lives of 1 billion more individuals around the globe. Neo-urban areas are a powerful alternative to the traditional city. Neo-urbanization has empowered and engaged people with greater aspirations and expectations, choosing to remain where they are and yet having access to socio-economic opportunities. ICT has already impacted the shift and will play a critical role in this neo-urbanized context by enabling access to education and information, extending the reach of services such as health and finance, facilitating networks of cooperation, democratizing information, empowering people and providing employment and economic growth opportunities. Neo-urbanization is a phenomenon that Alcatel-Lucent will continue to study to help discover and provide the solutions that can unlock the highest potential of people and accelerate digital inclusion around the globe.